Officer at Jubilee Insurance, Mr. Julius Orayo. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes forward. We are glad to have you here. Welcome, Julius. Thank you for your leadership and thank you for being a forward-thinking leader. Welcome.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. You guys are good? Yeah, sorry. When chairman called me yesterday and said he wanted someone to speak about using robotics, I could not hesitate. I said, you know what, let me go to the archives and pick one presentation and then we can talk about what we have. So we started on a journey within Jubilee, and the journey was driven by where we were. We were growing at, more than 20% year on year. No transformational agenda, profitable. I think we are the only insurance company that is profitable, but still, not doing anything major that is going to change how we were operating. So we had to embark on a journey that was supposed to take to another level. So what are some of the challenges that we had? I'll just focus on the challenges we had, the pillars we had to implement, and then I dive into robotics, which is the topic for today. And then I'll give you some use cases that we have had and some of the opportunities that have been unlocked through robotics, and a lot of other things which we go through. I'll make it short, so please, welcome. So, in the insurance industry within Jubilee, imagine a scenario where we're getting over 12,000 claims every day. I just delved only in the healthcare side. I didn't go to the life or asset management side. 12,000 claims per day, and each claim has what? 7 to 10 pieces of paper. That's 85,000 pieces of paper per day. And all this information has to be captured into the core systems we have, using clinicians, doctors, accountants, and then I have to make sure that I pay the service provider within the agreed timelines. Some service providers want to be paid within 7 days, others want to be paid within 1 week, 1 month, and so I have to make sure I'm keeping abreast with the TATs that we have agreed. And you know what? If you went to the hospital right now, you want to get your care, you want to pay cash, your consultation will most likely cost you 2,000. But once you produce your medical card, how much will it change to? Most likely 3,000 because of the credit. So we have to look at efficiencies that can take us to another level. We are using legacy systems. I think every insurance company, there's no insurance company that has got a system that is less than 7 years old. They are all legacy. Imagine with the transformation that we have across the market. Then fraud, they say it's between 20 and 50%. It's actually more. So I'll give you some of the insights on what exactly we try to do in that particular space. So now, when you look at all this, we had to look at a number of agenda items that we could implement. One of the items we looked at was robotics, because we are very manual. Then how do we bring in robots to do what human beings do? And that will be the topic for discussion today. And then you can't do just robotics without diving into other areas. The other agenda we had was on data, thinking about data and going forward. Then from there, we also said we must make sure that we give our customers a digital experience. So we had another pillar for digital journeys and digital experience. Then we went ahead and said, excuse me, we also need to use, in the healthcare space, we need to embed AI in our clinical education. You can imagine we get millions of lines, drugs, the drugs even to you, the diagnostics you get, all those we have to use clinicians to check, was the dosage right? Are you taking any other previous medications that can react to the current medication you have given? Do you have any condition that you may be suffering from? What's your gender? What's your age? Is the dosage right? Or is it an underdose? All those kind of combinations, which a normal human being, if you're given that particular claim, you'll most likely take 15 minutes to process. Can we use AI to process all these kinds of claims? And I can tell you, in the first year, we were able to make a saving of more than 340 million Kenyan shillings by just using AI in claims education. I moved to the next area, which was, when you have all this information, I've got all this data, how can I then use health dramatics? So as I'm doing my steps here, there's a lot of information that are being picked through my watch, and this is already being read into the Jubilee My Shafiti app. And behind the scenes, we are looking at the health of the human being, sleeping patterns, your heart rate, body pressure, a lot of other things, and also what you've been going through, and I'm able to predict, are you likely to have a heart attack? What is it that's likely to happen to you? And this is an area that we endeavored in health telematics. We always talk of motor telematics, so we also have health telematics. The first one in East Africa. And then we went ahead and said, when we have all this happening in the organization, we must make sure that we have got an agenda for innovation, bringing in an innovation culture. And this one, we then set up a unit called JHub within Jubilee Insurance, which basically focuses on churning out any innovative ideas that come on the forefront. So then, I'll move quickly and talk about robotics and what we've been able to do with regards to robotics. Just giving you some use cases. The first one is when you implement robotics, you just want to take it to your organization and automate what human beings do. You see, we get all these kinds of claims, and some of these claims someone has to capture into a legacy system. You are lucky if you have integrated with the various service providers. Okay, and then on the live side, we get thousands of customers who deposit money for their policies in various bank accounts. Someone has to get that information from banks and most likely capture in our core systems. Okay, you have got all these kind of things which have to happen. So how do I then make sure that this information can be done? If I don't have integration with banks, sometimes you as banks, you don't want me to integrate with your banks directly. You don't have APIs. You are not sure about security. So I give that work to a robot, downloads my bank records, and captures all that information into my core systems using a robot. Okay, that was the basic level of automation, what we call robotic process automation. But then we went ahead and said, excuse me, I can do more. All the customers I get, I'm required by law to make sure that I have done KYC screening. So the robot will log into IPRS, it will log into KRA, it will log into our AML screening platforms and confirm that you meet all the required, scores, including risk scoring. This is being done in the back end by a robot. Then we went ahead and said, excuse me, now that I've got a robot that is doing all this, can I extend it? There are particular services which a human being has to call even the IT desk. I'll give you an example. In our IT desk, mostly you want to reset your password, you want to have your VPN errors resolved, a router has hung, or the memory in one of your servers is already exhausted, and all that kind of stuff. Okay? But then this is something that we had to give a robot. So the robot is able to, let's say it's your password, you go into your chatbot, you tell it, please reset for me the password for this particular application. The robot clears your password and, tells you proceed to work. You want to create a mailbox, or you want to reset some mailbox settings or clean your mailbox, the robot does it for you using a chatbot. Okay, VPN, you are working from home, your VPN has developed some errors, and you can see the errors. You can actually tell the robot the error you are seeing, the robot will want to clear that particular error in the backend. That's the use of robots. And by the way, we even went further. You can ask now a robot, please give me my bank statement, give me my medical statement, give me my policy statement, and the robot will generate that for you and email it to you or send it on WhatsApp. That's a use of robotics in using the chatbots. Then we went ahead and said, excuse me, all this information that I'm picking and the robot has to learn and capture, can I give it some level of intelligent automation where I give it a claim document, it's able to know this is a claim document. So as you are, let's say, onboarding a customer, they'll attach their PIN number, they'll attach their ID, they'll attach their claim from the proposal form for a particular product. Maybe it's a J-Care product, it's a retail product for health, it's a life product, pension product, asset-related product. Can it understand what document you have attached and capture that document in the right system? Do all the screening that is required in the back end without any human intervention. That's down the level what we call intelligent automation, using what we call document understanding. And that is also what we have implemented. Now, like for the around 15% of our providers who are not connected digitally, they just submit their claim forms or their documents, and the robot is able to understand. This document is from Dr. Rayo, this is from radiologist Harry, and all that, and it's able to capture all these details automatically in the back end without any human intervention. Okay, then now, as you do all this, you get to get a lot of insights on what's happening within the business. This is, it's able to know how long it's taking for you to do a particular process. It's telling you how many processes take more of your work or your people, which process is not needed, because with time it starts to understand and starts to modify how you do your work. You see, your systems and your processes were designed maybe 5-10 years ago, and you have never delved into getting to understand some non-useful processes you do within your own ecosystem. So then the robot comes in and tells you, excuse me, I've looked at all this, you don't require actually this particular step. Okay, that's basically the level now you go using robotics to do what we call business process reengineering. Okay, BPM. Where you go in, the robot is telling you which processes you can do away with, which ones you can improve, which ones you need to do better, which ones you need to maybe make some changes. And then it actually, once it tells you what to do, you can click on implement this, and you see everything immediately changing, and you have got a very well modified kind of process within your operation. And then now, I'll tell you about AI in health. Now, we receive, if you look at if you went to a hospital today, you'll most likely see like 15 lines of what you've been given. There's consultation, the lab tests, the various lab tests you went for. There'll be items on the various drugs you've been given, the x-rays and all that. And now someone needs to look at all this. And this information came in electronically into our system. But then the hospitals, because of the law, will also send you the fiscal claims. Now imagine, as this is already captured in your system, you need to link this fiscal claim into the electronic claim that came through. So we used a robot to do that. So as the claims are coming through, scanning is happening in the back end, the robot is linking all these images to what is captured in our core systems. And then it's also helping in adjudicating these particular claims. So it's complementing AI, using document understanding and telling me, no, this particular diagnosis is not in line with the disease, with the drug you've been given. This particular, how come there was an X-ray and this patient is suffering from malaria? Was it over-servicing? And so it's helping in intelligent automation. With this, we are the first insurance company that is already going to be paperless. You've seen campaigns that we've sent out, where the next time you go to the service provider, we will no longer be required to fill in any claim form. You see, this is the dream that every person has been waiting for, that you can actually go to the service provider, put your fingerprint, get service, and by the time you get out of the facility, I know what you've been treated. Now, let me tell you some of the things that we've come across when you use AI in health. We've come across cases where we've seen a lot of misdiagnoses. I'm sorry for the doctors who are in the house. So a patient was taking a particular medication, maybe they have a heart disease, they're taking particular medication, and you've been given medication that is likely to react and make you go to the ICU. So you're able to know those kind of cases. We know which particular doctors, your chances of you getting readmitted or going to the ICU are higher than particular doctors. So we are unlocking cases where we can actually profile and give you the star ratings of the various facilities within the country. So that's basically been driven by use of robotics as well as AI in healthcare. And then now, when we did all this, we had a very huge campaign. And what we called the agenda for robotics was the Robot Nation. Why did we call it the Robot Nation? Because we wanted every employee to own a robot. So I'm happy to say we have more than 100 robots, and around 200 staff are already certified in robotics. So they can create their own robots, they can change their own process, they can automate their own tasks. And now we have a workplace culture that embraces robotics. And so we call it the Robot Nation culture. Okay, you can imagine thank you so much. When you sit in a meeting and you're discussing about something, a challenge that you want to address, you'll find someone saying, by the way, why can't we use a robot in this particular exercise? And you see, this is something that now when you see that kind of feedback coming from normal users, then you know you have cracked it. And by the way, the majority of our developers on the robotics side are not IT people from background. Around 80% of them are from the business, and writers, finance guys who are not techie guys are the ones who are now creating these particular robots. I'll go quickly to the next bit and I'll just talk about some of the opportunities that have been unlocked, which I've actually talked about. I don't want to go more into that. But then I would like to tell you more about analytics using robotics in AI-based analytics. Can you imagine when you understand a document? Whenever we get when we get claims from the various service providers, some sets of claims will be like X-rays, isn't it? Now, you know how long it takes for you to get that particular X-ray result? If today you went to our national hospital, KNH, or any facility, any of the counties, you'll most likely be told to go to, or if you went to the lower clinic, you'll be referred to a higher facility, and they'll take your X-ray, and then all those X-rays will be put in a box, given to a radiologist who will write a report, isn't it? And most likely, you'll go for your results next week. Is the disease going to wait for that particular result so that you can treat it? You'll most likely die before you actually get the diagnosis. So we went through and passed all these images we have through our AI engine. So the robot picking those and pushing them all through our AI engine. And it was able to know this particular scan is for TB, this is for pneumonia, this is for cancer, this is for what, this is a broken femur, this is what, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, classification, right? Then it's able to tell you, this one now is cancer stage 1, this is TB stage this, and all that kind of stuff, okay? And then now, we are able to know, this particular case we were treating, was it really cancer, was it really pneumonia, or you were just giving a patient drugs and yet he didn't have pneumonia? That is, again, using document understanding embedded with AI. Okay, I use this to just give you a short video clip of a robot picking images and pushing it to our pneumonia prediction engine, and then within seconds, it's able to give me the results of the X-ray. So it's picking out an image, okay? The likelihood for this particular image is 0, so this patient does not have pneumonia, okay? Let's pick another image, and then these are the various models we are using in the backend. And then pick another image using a robot, submit it to the AI, and it will give us the score. In this particular case, this patient, 97% score, is suffering from pneumonia. That's using AI and robotics to automated diagnostics. And this is something that we are already using for our internal image processing, and we would like to extend it to the various service providers to save humanity, to save Kenya, to save the people who are suffering. And that's all for my presentation, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Check 1, 2. Do we have any questions for our speaker? That was a fantastic presentation. Any question, you can raise your hand. All right, I can see 1, 2 questions. Mr. Julius, you are on demand today morning. All right.
Thank you so much for the very nice, informative presentation. I think I have 2 questions.
Sure.
One day, will robotics be able to replace humans in banking, in health? I have my own perspective, but definitely would love to hear from you as an expert. Also, in the banking industry, where do you see the area that will be really impacted by robots and by those kind of automations? Thank you so much.
So I think if I got right, you were asking replacing human beings, and you are looking at in the industry. I didn't get the last one.
The banking industry.
In the banking industry.
Banking industry.
Okay.
How can we benefit from the robots now, as we speak, not in 5 years? Thank you so much.
Good. Super. You want me to come in first on that? Yes. Okay. So when we did this, the first level, we were able to replace 120 staff. Okay. 120 staff. But they actually went to do better work. You can imagine graduates who were capturing data, they were reassigned to do more work. If you look at our headcount, it's been growing, but it's moving from back office support to customer-facing support and business development. So their role has been reinforced, and we've seen a number of them going to more better work. Robotics units, a number of people going to robotics, data and analytics, machine learning engineers, All those are new opportunities that have been created, which we didn't have in the past. Now, in banking, very clear. I mean, KYC screening. By the way, robotics can even create for you APIs. You can use robotics to create APIs for systems that do not have APIs. So that's another level that you can go into. BPM, you can actually create a robot in your own process, and then from there it will tell you which processes are not making sense. So use it to also do your digital transformation. Plus again, there are a lot of other products you have which the robot can move in and maybe see what you don't need and maybe try to help you in what you do, onboarding of customers, processing of payments for customers. Can I chat with my chatbot and get paid? Immediately I want to withdraw, and the chatbot is able to send you the money on your, mobile money, or your, I want to pay. Like I would like you guys, when I go to any of the supermarkets, I just go to your chatbot and I say I want to pay. I scan my QR code, and immediately the robot in the back end is processing and confirming the basic details. And from there, I have my payment. I can make a payment in any of the facilities. So the use cases are numberless. Okay, thank you.
I've got a series of questions.
Sure. Proceed, Chairman.
So the first one is, what was the motivation to doing what you did? To go into AI and robotics? What was the business case? And then, how did you convince your board to invest in it?
Sure. Good.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Thank you. Good. Let me start with the board. Normally, when implementing some of these huge transformation agenda projects, okay, you don't have a huge business case. It's a dream you have. Okay. Actually, when we went there, I remember we were at that stage. We were just 2 people in the organization who had this particular dream, and we only had 1 slide to take to the board, and we didn't know how much we needed. So the dream was to tell them, you know what, we are growing, but we are not growing at the rate that can take us where we need to be. We are profitable, but so what? For how long? Okay, what happens if something happens today? Then we said, all our processes are manual. Can we first of all start with robotics? Was actually put as hygienics. Okay, because we are insurance was always, and is always very old in everything, we do. I know some of you always look at insurance as one of those oldest animals that you don't even want to deal with. So that was the best level of saying robotics is hygienics. Okay. It was supposed to be implemented within 3 to 6 months, 12 months. Okay, now, and when we told them all these other agendas on what is long-term and what is mid-term, they bought the dream, and we got $20 million funding for the project. 20 million, and they said, you know what, here it is. You guys, you can do what? You can go ahead and use the money. But I'm happy to report that in the second year, actually, the project started financing itself. So only the first year did we spend what we wanted. Second year, it was already paying itself off. So after that, no one is questioning about whether it's working or not. They are actually happy. Now, what exactly was driving us is when we are so old and you want to do something, the first level, as I said, is hygienics. But then it unlocked a lot of opportunities. Okay, now, the biggest challenge we had was change management. Remember, you are coming in, you are telling people that we want to take your job. This is what you've been doing for the last 10 years, 15 years. That job is going to be obsolete. So what did we do? I started what you call evangelism 1.0, selling the dream. We had not even started implementing the program. Okay, we just had to talk about 1.0. What is happening in future? Look at what we need to do. Robots are coming, AI, machine learning is coming through, and then we gave the staff platforms for them to learn for free. Okay, where we can go in and take as many certifications in any area you need. So I can tell you every day I get 2 to 3 staff who come to my office who want to change from their main line to something different because of the certifications they've taken. So they started realizing that actually it's for their own growth. It's not for the company's growth, only it's for their own growth. So that change helped us to manage the change. And then when we were doing all this, it started then unlocking a lot of opportunities in terms of, I've created a process to automate this, but then again, through webinars where we could teach staff on how to create their own robots, automate their own tasks, make their work exciting. Now the guys started buying in. And then whenever now we had a challenge, we could ask ourselves, do we develop a portal, do we use AI, or do we use a robot to do it? And so the quick win, someone could just sit, within 48 hours, we have got a robot to automate the task. So anytime then we have a problem, let's go, let's use a robot to do that. So then that was able to take us to the next levels. And now every time we have a project we are implementing, we look at all the facets. What can we use here? Do we use machine learning models? Do we use human beings? Do we create a robot using software developers? Or do we use the robot that is already available, modified to suit our needs? So you can see that's basically what was driving us. Okay.
All right, thank you for that. There's also just one more addition from the gentleman here.
Hi, everyone. Joseph from NCBA Bank. I think to add to your point, it's about banking and robotics. So for us, we've used robotics for reconciliation. So you can imagine in a bank, you have over 10 different endpoints. You have PesaLink, you have Airtel, Safaricom, you have EFT, Swift. So we've used robotics to actually automatically move files and do reconciliation. We've also used robotics to do daily reports on the same. And in terms of where do the other staff go, I think service desk is normally a place people pass by. So what we've done is we've diversified the career. So instead of being a service desk person, you move either to solution architect, to business analysis, and to other things. The goodness about robotics is one, time. Secondly, like reports used to be done manually, so you realize the formats are different, mistakes are done. So it's actually accurate and same formatting, and it's very easy to use and to adjust.
Super. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, you see a number of use cases. Actually, reconciliation, that's what we also talked about. I say a robot is 100% accurate, given the data it has. No maternity leave, no sick leave, no attitude, no leave, no nothing. It's working 24/7, no public all day. I mean, it's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Something. Good.
Shaping the world in its wake and altering the way we perceive things. IT is pulsing at the heart of today's business, and ManageEngine works towards simplifying IT management for businesses like yours. Enterprise IT management solutions designed to monitor and optimize your IT services, IT operations, IT security, Active Directory and Windows Server, desktops and mobile devices. Our exhaustive portfolio of over 40 products has managed the IT of more than 120,000 businesses and is used by over 2 million IT pros across 190 countries. Real-time IT management solutions for the new speed of business.
Great, thank you for that, Julius. That was quite an insightful conversation. I like the way he said, no leave days on the AI, no attitude. You can imagine when you're working with certain colleagues, you have to approach them when they are in a good mood to get a certain report. But one of the fascinating things that I've also realized is also in the search engines when it comes to HR. If you've experienced yourself probably doing so many applications on LinkedIn and you're wondering, how come I'm not getting that particular role? Probably there is an AI that is sifting it through, because I believe there is no HR person who would be able to sit down and look at 500 CVs. That is quite an interesting conversation. Thank you for that, Julius. Please, let's appreciate him one more time with a round of applause. Fantastic. Now we want to go to our next part of the conversation. This is on cloud innovation in banking. To guide us on this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, is a man with over 14 years of experience in the financial ICT solutions, and also he's recognized as for his distributive innovation initiatives, not only in Kenya, but across Africa. One of the things that also stand out in his expertise is on software development, risk management. He's a strategic planner and also has quite the expertise when it comes to business development. He is the founder and group CEO of Eclectics International. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with the warm round of applause as we call on stage Mr. Paul Mbogwa. As we say in Swahili, makofi tafadhali. Welcome, Mr. Mbogwa. And thank you for your leadership. Welcome. Thank you. As it comes to set it up, Mr. Mbugwa, we just have one question for you that you can be able to tell us even as you start off. What gives Mr. Mbugwa the passion to do what he does?
Hello, yes.
What gives you the passion to do what you do and
Right.
the fire in your belly?
Yeah, thank you very much. I said in yesterday's session, for me it's a calling, and we have a mission is to simplify lives digitally. If you are equipped with whatever knowledge, then you use it to simplify lives digitally. My name is Paul Mbugwa. I'm the founder, group CEO of Eclectics International. And I did discuss yesterday, among other things, will be demystifying, besides cloud, can institutions share that cost? Because we are an African continent that does not have extra resources for each one to go independently. Yeah, mission is to simplify lives digitally. I said we are in 28 countries, both in Africa and Solomon Islands. We process about 600 million transactions every month, 5,000 transactions per second throughput, the largest software house in Africa. Head as a group CEO, and we win every single award that relates to digital innovation. We had to make sure they were well certified and in order to comply, so including PCI DSS, the central banks, the partnerships we have, the ICTA certification, the data protection, those are necessary if you are a fintech or institution that needs to grow. Many others, including PSP licenses. Just a few of the customers that we have served over the years, again, starting with the largest bank, the central bank, going all the way to KCB and everybody else within the region. What is also critical in the green